Welcome. I am Corinne Zudonyi. I am the editor-in-chief of Facility Cleaning Decisions magazine, Contracting Profits magazine, cleanlinks.com. We put on Clean Buildings Conference and NFM&T. And I am welcomed today with my very good friend from Amsterdam.
Yes.
This is Danielle. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yes. Hi, I'm Daniëlle Inostroza. I'm from Amsterdam, and I am the trade show manager of Interclean Global. And we organize the largest trade show on professional cleaning and hygiene in Amsterdam every 2 years. And we also organize a trade show in Shanghai every year, also for the professional cleaning and hygiene industry.
Yes,
in a nutshell.
It's the largest show in the world, isn't
It is, yes. I
Yeah.
actually recalculated it in square feet. It was about 320,000 square feet.
Feet, not meters?
No,
Feet?
meters
Nice.
is 35,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I had
see?
to do the calculation for someone
They're so much
today.
smarter than me. I can't do the meters to feet. So
Yeah, me neither. I did it on my phone. I don't know it.
it's the event is really interesting. I actually am honored to attend. Interclean Amsterdam is every even year, so it'll happen again next year.
Correct.
But it's a great event because it's really interesting insight into what's going on globally in the cleaning industry. And what I've experienced over my many years in the publications is that the trends seem to start in Europe.
All right.
In cleaning, and then eventually they make their way. When I attend the events, I often see innovations that are not necessarily innovations in Europe, but are things that still have not made the headway to the United States. So one of those is robotics, and I know you do a trends report every year, and those of you who are interested in the trends, I can get you the URL for that. But in the trends report, you talk about robotics, and that's
Correct.
something that's been going on in Europe for a long time, but it's really starting to gain momentum finally here in the U.S. So why don't you tell us a little bit about robotics, what you've seen in Shanghai, in Amsterdam, and then like on your show floor, you have a whole robotics arena.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we have a dedicated section actually at our show. It's for robotics and data technology. So we have different companies with robotics, but also software-wise that also emphasize that. The fun part is also that in Shanghai we also have a show, and there you also see a lot of exhibitors, and these are then Chinese manufacturers that also have those robotics. And like you said, with the global trend report, we see that this is really one of the developments that are happening right now. And earlier today, I also had another session where we also spoke about smart technology integration, and there we also touch base on what's the word with the P? Sorry, predictive maintenance.
Yes,
Yeah, predictive maintenance. Yeah,
yes.
sorry. And but the fun part was this: when I was in Shanghai 2 weeks ago, I had some conversations with the Beijing Cleaning Association and Shanghai Cleaning Association, and they actually also mentioned that that's a gigantic trend right now. So, like you pointed out, it really is global. So that's very nice to see.
Yeah, I think the trend with robotics specifically has a lot to do with the labor challenges, and those we do know. I mean, obviously in the U.S., the labor challenges are people are aware what's going on in their own facilities and their own organizations, and maybe you could speak to because I know that's a trend in the report as well is labor challenges and how using technology such as robotics can help with that.
Yeah, definitely, especially because the labor costs are increasing tremendously, both in Europe, but I also learned this morning also in the US. And actually the AI systems, the robotics, to make use of that. For example, the machines combining one machines by doing 3 different tasks instead of 3 different equipments. Usually now the equipment are more advanced with more technology, and because of that, that can cut costs, but also have better environmental impact because some machines are better equipped with, and then they use less water, less energy, less reduce of chemicals, and because of that, that also lowers the utility bills. So it has multiple implications on cost, but and with that also on labor costs.
Yeah, and you mentioned sustainability. So here in the U.S. So I just those of you who don't know me, this is my 20th year in the industry, and when I first started, we were still defining green in the magazines. We were explaining what some of the different words meant, whether it was a certification or language that was used on the label of a product. But green and sustainability really has ebbed and flowed over the years, at least my 20 years. And it's been, early on, it was very expensive to purchase a green or sustainable third-party certified product. They didn't necessarily perform as well as the original products. Then, it started to balance out. The performance went up, the price went down, but then, things change and the interest kind of dropped, then it goes up. In Europe, the focus on sustainability is like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So it kind of started and just
goes
continues
up.
to go
Correct.
up. So what kind of trends are you seeing? Because I predict a lot of that is going to come to the U.S. What kind of trends are you seeing in Europe regarding sustainability?
Well, I think the big difference is with us that it's also because of the government. I mean, all business need to be sustainable. So every company that wants to do business with end users or distributors, they need to be sustainable. So I think they have to adapt to the very fast evolving industry. But biodegradable, you really see that a lot. Less toxic use. And also, I forgot the name, but it's compressed products. So super, I forgot the English word.
That's okay.
Super concentrates, I think it's
like
called.
yes, like ultra concentrated chemicals.
Yeah, so those are also very fast evolving. And again, the smart sensors. So in first instance, it doesn't sound sustainable, but because of the smart sensors, they will receive the data, and then they know where are the high traffic areas, which are the low traffic areas, or which meeting rooms are not used, which are used. So it's more dedicated cleaning, so optimized cleaning schedules, and because of that, there is less waste of energy, water, cleaning materials. So it's an indirect result, but it is sustainable.
I don't think a lot of people consider that component. So, the sensors that she's talking about, a lot of that we refer to in the U.S. as Internet of Things.
Yeah, IoT sensors.
IoT sensors. So those are really in a lot of pieces of equipment that we don't even necessarily realize. And it's really heightens with the pandemic and the hybrid work environment. In Europe, you had been doing it long before that, but we're starting to see productivity advantages in the U.S. with using these sensors. How often do you have to go refill that towel dispenser or that soap dispenser? But also room occupancy.
Yeah, definitely.
Do I even need to go into that room? And now because we're having staffing struggles, it kind of helps with that as well. So not everyone connects that to sustainability. One thing you do in Europe, though, and you have a huge thing at Interclean Amsterdam, is your waste.
Yeah.
I don't know the formal name of the section, but they actually take an entire trash can and dump it on a table and sort it out and figure out they what could have been recycled, what should have been actually gone to a landfill. And normally the landfill is a tiny little bag of this giant package. So we don't do much of that here. We have every state is a little bit different when it comes to waste and recycling. And it kind of came up in your session this morning, but we didn't elaborate on it. But a number of universities, especially on the West Coast, are looking at composting.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you do composting in Europe? Is that commonplace? Is it?
Yeah, but actually it already starts with the households, because in my house we have 3 very large bins: green, blue, and gray. And green is for all the compost, blue is the paper, and black is the rest.
Yeah.
So, and I think as far as I can remember, when I was young, I think 30, 40 years ago, we already had that in our house. We already had those green things, and then my mom, when she was doing the potatoes, all the peels would go in there. So I think we're raised like that as well, and then now they also do it, of course, in the businesses. So yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So we don't know better.
Yeah. I live in Wisconsin and in rural Wisconsin, and we do compost more in our homes, but only within probably the last 5 years.
Okay.
It is definitely not commonplace in commercial settings. So when I talk to a lot of universities are doing it, especially out west, because the students are dictating it. They want more sustainability initiatives at their university, and it's helping them decide where they want to go to school, which is highly
wow.
competitive right now. But yeah, I don't know if anyone, show of hands, if anyone composts with their facilities. Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh, wow. Congrats. It's not easy to do, like, because we don't necessarily make it easy because we don't always have the facilities
Okay.
and what to do with the compost and how to handle it and all that stuff. So it's still very early onset
All
here.
right, okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't even realize. So,
Surprising
yeah.
to you, yeah.
For me, it's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other sustainability? I know the regulations with the government regulations help drive a lot of the sustainability. Is there anything, you've been to the U.S., but only a handful of cities, handful of times, that you've maybe seen that's a little bit odd here that is normal, commonplace?
No, I had it more the other way around. But I was surprised. I had a layover in Detroit. And actually what we don't have in the Netherlands, when you drive into a parking garage, that you can see if you're like in the line, that you have like this red light that you're not able to park. And if it's green, you're able to park.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Detroit at the airport, they had it at the toilets, actually. I thought,
Yes.
oh, that's cool. We don't have that.
Oh.
So it was the other way around.
That's actually a new thing. I don't know if anyone knows about that. It's been around for a while, but it wasn't commonly used.
Okay.
Actually, within probably the last 6 months, I've started to work with some manufacturers who are trying to make it commonplace, and because it is another productivity advantage.
Yeah.
If no one has, it keeps people moving throughout the high traffic restroom, obviously, but they can monitor that. So if that particular stall hasn't been used since the last cleaning, they don't need to go in there and waste their time cleaning it. So it's another IoT advantage that they can kind of keep track and monitor traffic in the restroom as well. So,
but I think a lot of things, and that's difficult for me to distinguish right now, I think a lot of things you don't see in first instance that they're doing something which is sustainable. For example, data-driven, like with the smart sensors to see whether a certain soap dispenser needs to be refilled, yes or no. I mean, you couldn't see it like instantly.
Yeah.
So maybe they do, maybe they don't. Yeah, it's difficult for me to track.
Yeah. And when you're involved in it every day, you sometimes miss some of these things.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So anything else that you're noticing European being way ahead or way behind? I mean, I don't think they're way behind on much, but I've seen, for example, one thing we can talk about is training. So the way that staffing is an issue in Europe as well as here in the U.S., but one thing that I've noticed in Europe is what you offer your staff, obviously, is a little bit different and nice. I would love all those vacation days and just go on holiday for a month, but...
Or more.
Yeah, or more. Oh, man. But I'm moving to Amsterdam. It's been nice knowing all of you. Goodbye. But the training, and we talked about VR, virtual reality training. And is that truly commonplace there?
Well, common, I don't know. At least not where I work, but I work like in a venue.
Yeah.
But I did have a conversation. I mentioned that earlier as well. That we had some contacts with hospitals, and there they really train via AR, not VR. I didn't see the VR one, but the AR one. And I did hear from others that they have experience with VR, but I am going to pay closer attention because I also really like the ideas. Yeah, it's and the examples because you do hear it.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing. But especially in the health and safety industry, where normally you have hazardous chemicals to work with, and if you can train with that without touching it beforehand, if it's not needed, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I've seen it also in healthcare. Just tested over the last, and this came up in her session earlier. Over the last 3 years or so, we've started to see some manufacturers come out with some technologies for training, and I've seen the VR, where the virtual reality goggles they put on, and they normally use hospitals as a best venue for it, because they'll test custodians and environmental services workers with like a sharps container. Well, obviously you don't want to test them with a sharps container, so they can do that with virtual reality or around hazardous chemicals or around blood and bodily fluids that you don't want to expose them to necessarily, but it helps them put them in a real environment per se.
But also, I remember it was standard procedures because you have those fixed trolleys, and then you have to make use of, I don't know the steps, but first you use that cloth, and then you use that cloth. And then when they train new employees, they do it via or VR or AR, and then you can like play around with it. And then, like I said this morning, studies showed that when you use a training by VR, the knowledge that keeps on hanging is 75%. So because they just find it an extra additional fun thing to do, like, okay, first I have to do that step, and I don't know how it works. Maybe if you take the wrong cloth, I don't know, but I mean, it sticks.
Yeah.
So. Nowadays, especially cleaning industry, we always say it's not the most sexy industry, but to make it fun, make it nice to stay around. Yeah, they need to be challenged and keep them engaged.
Yeah, and different people learn different ways. We know
Exactly.
that. So the retention is higher for something like that. By the way, they call cleaning carts trolleys. I would like to adopt that here. Yeah, trolleys. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
I
when
didn't
she
know.
says trolleys, that's what she's talking about.
Okay.
It's a standard cleaning cart.
Yeah,
I like. It sounds much nicer
Yeah,
though.
trolley,
So we
yeah.
should start calling
Okay,
it trolleys.
trolley, yeah.
What you also call a show or an expo is a. What do
a
you,
trade show, but but actually we call it an event now.
No, there was a better word for it. There was something. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to start calling it that. Yeah. Trainers. They call gym shoes trainers. Yeah. I learned all these cool words. I'm like, I'm going to bring this to the U.S. It's so much better.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about what you mean with trade show now, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm too
Fair.
American.
Fair.
Oh, a fair.
It's a fair.
Correct. Yeah,
They
yeah,
call
yeah,
it a fair.
Yeah.
We go to the trade fair.
Yeah, we go to
And these are stands, not booths. Stands.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So it just sounds so much nicer. I'm going to go to the fair. And they're like, oh, yeah? In Baltimore. The fair. Yeah. Any questions for the participants here? Do you have any questions for Danielle about any trends in the U.S. or, I'm sorry, in Europe or in China? She's also very knowledgeable about that. Questions? No? Do you want to hear more cool terms about Amsterdam? They really like candy. Their candy is way better. It's like real
The
fruit.
worst part is I don't really like candy, so I don't have a comparison. But I have to bring my kids candy, so I've got like my suitcase is full.
Here? From here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't know. They
fake.
say, "Mom, bring me funky candy." I'm like, okay,
Funky
funky
candy.
candy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else I had, unless there's more trends you wanted to talk about.
No, I think we touched the ones which are very interesting, especially like the AR and the VR. Those ones I really liked, which are completely different. And also the fact that sustainability also comes via different ways.
It really is. The sustainability is probably the most interesting, because it really is
obligatory
common.
almost.
Yes,
yeah.
it's just we do this and it's normal. It's not an initiative. It's not something they have to implement.
Yeah.
It's not something they have to get permission to do or to pitch the idea to someone. It's just commonplace.
Yeah, but you have to really show, for us, because I work at the RAI, which is the convention center, but we have to show our carbon footprint. And if it's too high, we're no longer allowed to operate. It's like, it's very
strict.
Yeah, it's very strict.
Yeah.
And I think it's going towards businesses having to show that as well. And otherwise, maybe, I'm just saying a country, but maybe Denmark, because they're even more advanced, they're not allowed to do business with a company in the Netherlands that doesn't meet up to certain carbon footprint standards.
Wow.
Yeah,
very
so
strict.
you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here I have found most of the time it's an individual, a person really wants to drive this, really wants to make this happen. And they get other people and they build an army and we're going to make this happen now. But it's very individual. And we're just not at the point yet where it would be regulated.
Yeah, but I think what I said earlier, if companies already start doing it now, at one point, I believe it will be everywhere. They will have a competitive advantage.
Yeah. I think too, it's gotten, at least in my career, it's gotten more commonplace that products are more green, sustainable, certified by a third party. So a lot of facilities or BSCs, they're already doing a lot of it and don't even realize it necessarily.
Could be as well.
So
Yeah.
it's about taking that one step further.
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
thank you so
You
much
too.
for a great
Thank you for having me.
conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for
Yeah,
sitting in. And
definitely.
we
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone.
the audience. So thank you.
Thank you.